Good evening, everyone. This is actually my first time in Amsterdam. I arrived today. We have a very lovely city. As you heard, I will be talking, as Dave said, I'll be showing you one of the first applications that's been built on the Next blockchain. It's called Free Market. And let me introduce myself. As you heard, my name is Paul Mahone. I'm Italian and I live in Switzerland. If you're wondering about my name, it's not very Italian. That's because my father is Irish. And he won the argument about my name. So Free Market, as you heard, is a decentralized marketplace. Next already has a built-in marketplace for digital goods. This is a marketplace that's been tailored for physical goods. So it has options for shipping. It has places to put photos of your product. Let me tell you what motivated me to start working on this. The Next Free Market is a market that has no censorship. So the developers have no control over what you put in it. It's basically a way for you to write to the blockchain, and you can post any product for sale that you want. Also has very low listing fees. For instance, eBay will charge you money to post something. Next has a built-in transaction fee of 1 Next, which is less than 1 euro cent right now. Free Market itself right now, free of fees. Eventually we will add fees once we hopefully become more popular. At that point, the fees will be less than 10 Next, so less than 10 cents. eBay, I think, also takes a cut of your selling price. Does anybody know? I think that's right. Thank you. We do not. And as far as payments go, if you use something like PayPal, I don't know, do they charge you too? 4%. There we go. The payments within Next Free Market are basically Next, or as you'll see later, you can also pay in pegged assets. So you can price something in an asset that's pegged, say, to the euro or the US dollar. We don't take any cut of that. The only thing that you'll pay in terms of fees is, again, 1 Next. As a decentralized marketplace, we get a lot of comparison to, hang on, I may have moved too far from my laptop. There we go. We get a lot of comparisons to Silk Road, which you may have heard of. As you probably know, Silk Road was a large drug marketplace that got taken down, I believe, by the FBI. I think they had servers in Iceland. How the FBI could do that, I don't know, but they did. So we've taken some lessons from that. One of those is that we are very decentralized. As you heard, the blockchain in Next runs on every single computer that is running the Next blockchain. So that gives us something I like to call takedown resistance. You cannot get rid of the blockchain that houses the free market unless you destroy every single copy of the blockchain, which is thousands, as far as I know, thousands of computers. So really, you can't take down free market. And thanks to Next, it does provide a lot of anonymity. Silk Road was centralized. I think they probably internally knew who you were. There is no central organization controlling free market. We don't know who you are. And Next has a new feature called coin shuffling, which I don't know the math behind, but apparently it works. It's a way for you to send Next from your account to another account, and then that Next cannot be traced back to where it came from. So thanks to Next, there are a lot of things built in that we need. So I do want to tell you a bit why we use Next. I'm hoping that you'll be inspired to try building an app of yourself like we did when I tell you how ridiculously easy it was for us to do this. The ease of building on the next blockchain is fantastic. When we started, I come from a SQL background, a database background. The front end is what I did. I did it entirely in JavaScript. I taught myself along the way, and now we have a functioning product. Next also has built-in encryption, so messages between buyers and sellers, completely encrypted. Doesn't cost anything extra, it's just built into the OneNext transaction fee. And unlike some other markets where you have to use Bitcoin, which means going elsewhere and getting Bitcoin and sending it from a Bitcoin wallet, we can interact directly with your Next wallet. So we have a built-in payment system, just like that. So it's been very, very easy to build on. And as I mentioned, it also has coin shuffling built in. So I want to tell you a little bit about how to use Next Free Market, and I hope you'll try it. In fact, I'm going to show you how some of you with laptops and Wi-Fi access can try it right now. It's also available as a website, so while I'm talking, you can log in and have a look around. We do have 3 desktop clients. It runs on Windows, runs on Mac, and it runs on Linux. And as I said, we also have a website that I'll show you shortly. It is available in 13 languages, but not in Dutch yet. If anybody wants to help with that translation, I'll give you contact information later. We did build this as a global marketplace. It is not English-centric in any way. We want to have as many languages as we can. So the marketplace itself has a lot of features, some of which I'll show you. We have categories, which helps with searching. We have tags, which helps with searching. We allow you to upload images, give optional shipping methods. You can sell multiple quantities. I could go on. There are a lot of features. You can cancel listings that you've made. You can relist them if something doesn't sell very easily. Within the client, you can message your seller. As I said, we do have pricing. You can price in Next. There is also, within Next, assets, which you can use as currency. On the back end, you can use any currency. So far, we've only hard-coded one, which is called Next USD. It is pegged to the US dollar. Hopefully soon we'll add Next Euro when it comes out, and that way you get stable prices, which you don't get with really any cryptocurrency. This way, as a seller, you can know exactly what you're going to get. We offer listing times from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, and if you price something in crypto and wait 4 weeks, there's a good chance that you could either make a lot of money or lose a lot of money. This way, you have the relative stability of fiat. And in our next release, we have escrow. I don't know. So escrow is one of our most requested features, and it is coming out in the next release. And I might show that to you tonight if this keeps working. I don't know. I had planned to give a demo. I'll give you a short overview of it, but because it is available as a website, I'll give you the URL and you're welcome to try it out yourself. I designed the UI, and I'm hoping that it's easy enough to use without my having to explain it. So without much explanation, please try it. I don't know what's going on with the screen. Okay. Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to pop out into a web browser and show you what the interface looks like. I don't know if you can see that, it may be too small, but the URL up here free market lite, that's LITE .cc. This does work on mobile devices, but I'll warn you, the menu doesn't quite work. It's that whole teaching myself JavaScript thing. I'm still working on that. But if you can open it on a laptop, it should work just fine. If you want to look around, go under Buy and go to View All Items, and you'll see what's for sale. And there we go. There's a bunch of items. There's Wild Doug Kentucky ginseng roots. Why not? Again, I hope that the interface will be pretty clear. You can see the category, the tags, when the listing expires, the price. It's been priced in Next USD, so you know it's $40. There's a description. There are 5 available, and there are photos of ginseng, I guess. There it is. So this seller is offering 2 different ways to ship, USA and international. There's a place to put your shipping address and a message to the seller. These 2 fields are encrypted. So you don't have to worry about the fact that you're writing your address to the blockchain, because it's encrypted using the public key of the seller. So only the seller can decrypt it and see what your address is. Same for the message. And then you need to use your secret phrase to spend the next, and it gives you a approximation of the price, 35 euros for $40. I have no idea if that's right, but yeah, there it is. And let me briefly show you the search, because I'm going to talk about one of the technical challenges posed by using a blockchain as a database. If I search for ginseng, you'll see that it very quickly narrows down to this one item. That was a little tricky to do. So let's move on. I want to talk a bit about the technical challenges, not too in depth, unless somebody has a very technical question.
So while you're doing that, how do you get your next back to a fiat currency?
Well, if you have Next, you can sell it on an exchange. I don't know how many exchanges use Next. All the big ones, I think. Yeah, all the big ones. 15 to 20 exchanges. No.
What's that party called?
Yes. And if you use one of the assets, the pegged assets to fiat, those are provided by third parties. I think they make it very easy to, I think it's a Danish company that does that. Coinomat? They're Danish? Or are they not Danish?
No, Coinomat. It's Austrian.
Oh, Austrian. That's close. So in that case, you are relying on a third party, just like you would be with an exchange. Thank you. Speaking of technical challenges, I'll go through these while I still can. As I mentioned, we're using the blockchain as a database. Dave mentioned that with Next, you can write data to the blockchain, not just send the Next coins back and forth. That's exactly how we built this. We have one account, which is the free market account. When you buy something, or when you post something for selling, what you're doing is sending a message to the holder of that account. When you post something, the message is not encrypted. Free Market is a Java app that, if you're running on the desktop, is a Java app that will run alongside Next. So you have to have your Next wallet running so that the blockchain is available. What it does is it scans all the messages that have ever been sent to this account from the beginning of the blockchain up to the present, and builds up an internal database of what's there, and it continually rescans. So when you post something for sale, unlike a regular database, once it's on the blockchain, that's it, you can't change it. What you can do is post a later transaction that tells you that there's been a change to the previous one. So there'll be a message that says an item is for sale. Sometime later in the blockchain, there'll be a message saying that somebody has decided to buy it. And then after the money has been sent, there'll be another message that says it's been sold. So the Java program that's at the core of free market simply reads all the messages within this account and builds an internal database from that. Now that can be a challenge for several reasons. One is that initial loading time can be slow. Another problem with it is that, as you saw, the search is actually very fast. That's because we're not searching the blockchain. What I'm doing is loading every single item that's available into the client, and then the searching is done on the client side. Also, if you're concerned about privacy, then the images that you put into this, you want them to be anonymous. What you do now is you have to put in the URL to the image that you want to put in your listing. So within the help system in free market, we do have some instructions on how to find anonymous image hosting services, which you can use. But a new feature in Next, which we are integrating, there is now pruning of the blockchain. So you can store data for variable lengths of time on the blockchain and pay variable fees. So what we're going to do is let you store your images in the blockchain as well for the length of your listing, and then they'll get pruned out. So that will add some cost to the transaction. I don't know how much, maybe 30 or 40 next. So you're still looking at under 50 cents for posting if you want those anonymous images. And we have no reputation system yet. I don't know that we ever will because, frankly, reputation systems are very easy to game. I think anybody who's used eBay probably knows this. You can see any number of sellers where every person who buys something says A++ would buy again. I don't know how useful that is. In addition to the technical challenges, there are a lot of sort of social challenges that go along with a market like this. One of them is the user base of NXT, which is, I mean, everybody who uses NXT wishes the user base were larger. Hopefully apps like this will bring in new users. Another problem for the free market team anyway is marketing and PR. You may have heard of OpenBazaar. There's a lot of hype around them. They're in the news. We were live a year before OpenBazaar, but you probably have never seen free market in the news. OpenBazaar just launched, I guess, in beta a couple days ago. I guess it's a beta. I hear it doesn't work very well. I'm not sure. But we have a solid working platform. We've had it for a year. I know nothing about marketing. I don't know how to bring in more users. And that really is what we need, the user base of free market. That is, in a way, a bigger challenge than the technical issues because nobody wants to sell if there aren't a lot of buyers. Nobody wants to buy unless there are a lot of products available. It's a chicken and egg problem, and frankly, we're not sure how to get over it. If you look at the history of eBay, I think they started out as a place to buy and sell mainly one thing, Beanie Babies. I'm hoping that perhaps free market can attract some core industry, some very tight industry that will bring in a lot of users all at once, but I'm not sure. I will give you contact info at the end of this. If anybody has any brilliant ideas, I would love to hear them. So this is our website. This is where you can download the desktop client. One thing to note is the desktop client at the moment can't find any listings because the pegged asset, NextUSD, was a different asset only a little while ago, and that asset is hard-coded in. So until we release a new desktop version, please use our website. freemarketlight.cc. And I will leave you with some contact info. All the next people here probably know that up until today, as a developer, I've been completely anonymous. I was at university in the United States and very nervous about revealing who I am, simply because it's the United States and they don't like things like this. Now that I'm back in Europe and I'm living in Switzerland, I'm happy to tell you who I am. This is one of my email addresses. You can also contact the team at info@nextfreemarket.com. We also have a bitmessage address because we love bitmessage. Please send me bitmessages. I don't get enough. And you can follow us on Twitter. And I don't think I've mentioned it. I promised I would tell you how ridiculously easy it is to build on Next. The entire free market team is 2 people. One person who does the Java development, and then I do the front end. And getting free market out the door in a working version took about 2 months. We've been adding features since then, but we were actually working and people were buying and selling in about 2 months. So that is my entire presentation. I'm happy to take questions. Yes? Sure.
Why?
Oh. Okay.
Is it necessary to, so you've explained that,
So you've explained that the database is distributed. So there's no central database server or whatever.
Yes.
And the listings are they are sent through the network via the normal NXT protocol. But why is it necessary to tie the market to Next as a currency? Because I didn't see the necessity of that. I mean, if you list something and you're a seller and you list a physical good, then as soon as you receive the currency, you send out the physical good, but the currency which you receive, it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's no automated escrow as far as I understand the story. So why does it need to be NXT USD or NXT itself?
It doesn't. The advantage of using, because the market exists on the NXT blockchain, the advantage of using NXT or one of the pegged assets is that within the client you can then pay. And along with that payment you can send encrypted mailing address and a message to the seller. And when the seller approves the transaction, they can also send you back an encrypted message, perhaps with tracking info. It's not strictly necessary to use those. As far as the UI goes, we could add an option of pricing something in Bitcoin, and the buyer and seller simply have to arrange payment off the next blockchain, and then perhaps the buyer will say that he received the good and it'll go in as sold. But it's not strictly necessary to use NXT.
But the Bitcoin community doesn't know they can use this tool.
I would like them to.
Okay.
As far as I know, there's not a lot of talk about this.
You were talking about that you needed marketing somebody, but I was wondering, do you already have a budget also for that? And what is the volume you already sell on free market? Because you are already working.
So thank you for raising that question, because you reminded me of something that I forgot to mention. I think Dave talked about the fact that you can issue assets, and asset holders can be paid dividends through the Next system. So free market was initially offered as an asset. It's something that you can buy on the asset exchange within NXT, and the people who hold the asset are going to get a cut of the fees that we generate. 85% will go to the shareholders. We raised Next when we sold those assets, and we've only paid one outside programmer one time, so we actually still have all the money almost all the money that we raised during that offering. that we can spend on marketing or whatever else we need. But there is no marketing plan because we don't know anything about it. So if you know some marketers, you can send them our way. Thank you. Oh, and also, just to go back to your question about the escrow, I neglected to show you, that is coming in the next version. We also made a tool which is open source. It's called Concord, which you can find on GitHub. That is the basis of the escrow system. So if you download the Concord code and run a Concord node, then there is a section within the next version of Next where you can, the next version of Next Free Market, where you can see all the escrow providers who are online. You can click on their name and get their information. That's for sellers, because when you go to sell, you put in who the escrow provider is. The buyer doesn't have a choice about it. And the way it works is when the buyer buys, the money actually goes to the escrow provider, who releases it when both the seller and the buyer say okay. And if either one opens a dispute, then the escrow provider has to step in. That is sort of I mean, anyone can do it. Anybody can download it and offer their services as an escrow provider, but it's not built into free market. So it's not centralized, but it's not entirely decentralized either. We thought that was a good compromise.
Okay, we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions, and that's really it. So.
Sorry, I've been focusing over here. Were there questions over here? No, all the questions are over here. Okay.
You say you don't use reputation system?
No.
So what system do you use to?
There is no reputation system built in, simply because we don't see a way of doing it where it can't be manipulated. So if you want to...
So how do you verify someone who's buying a seller?
Oh, word of mouth, reputation, you know, as they... Well, reputation, but reputation maintained outside the system. So in forums, we don't have any system built in, so we're hoping people will find a way to do that.
Okay, so maybe one more question? No? Okay. Everyone, please thank Paul
All right.
McCaw.
Thank you.